Good morning. Welcome to Las Vegas FYI. I'm Marie Siren. When dealing with difficult financial issues, it is best to seek legal advice for guidance. Today we have attorney Sam Schwartz of Schwartz Lawyers in studio to help us better understand your options. Welcome back to the show, Sam.
Thank you, Marie. Nice to see you.
Same here. So tell us the difference between the different types of bankruptcies.
Well, there are, for consumers anyway, there are three types of bankruptcies. One is a Chapter 7 liquidation, one is a Chapter 13 reorganization, and the other is a Chapter 11 reorganization. Those are the three chapters that primarily apply to individuals.
And what makes one bankruptcy more expensive than another?
That's a good question. To start sort of at the top, bankruptcy is really a class action lawsuit against your creditors.
Okay.
It brings all of your creditors to one place. Once that bankruptcy is filed and the creditors are brought to the bankruptcy court, what makes it more or less expensive is who really is in charge of the case. In a Chapter 7 bankruptcy, a Chapter 7 trustee is appointed in the case. They're a fiduciary to really make sure that the bankruptcy code is complied with, and they bear all the costs. So Chapter 7s are really quite inexpensive. The next then is a Chapter 13 bankruptcy where when a person is reorganizing, they're in a payment plan kind of case.
Right.
And in some ways they're almost paying for the privilege to make decisions about how they reorganize and how their case is handled. The difference is there's a Chapter 13 trustee who's also a fiduciary appointed in the case to make sure that whoever the person who filed the debtor complies with the bankruptcy code. In Chapter 11, the big difference is that whoever files is their own trustee and they're responsible for managing themselves.
Wow. And what kind of companies file different types of bankruptcy?
Well, companies typically file in either Chapter 7, a liquidation,
okay,
or in Chapter 11, which is the reorganization. The one key point about companies, they really can only go to two places,
okay,
for the most part in today's economy.
And what kind of people?
Well, for individuals, really that is, any individual can file. It's just a question of where do they get pushed in terms of their income and their debt. And one of the big differences between the cases is really the cost. Chapter 7 is a good place to be to get a true, what everyone thinks of as a fresh start,
right,
where you can walk away from much of your debt without paying anything back. You have to qualify for Chapter 7 on either an income basis or an expense basis, meaning if you're below median income, you can file a Chapter 7 bankruptcy, no questions asked. Or if your expenses exceed your income in a way that the code allows, you can also file a Chapter 7 and walk away. If you make too much money, the code says you should file Chapter 13. Basically, the bankruptcy code assumes you can pay something back, so it forces you into a payment plan. If you have too much income and too much debt, you get pushed into Chapter 11. And the difference then really between the three, again, a Chapter 7 trustee runs your case in Chapter 7, they bear all the costs. In Chapter 13, it's a very streamlined process. There's a fiduciary to make sure everything's complied with under the code, so it's less expensive. You know, $900 to $1,000 is a baseline legal fee in a Chapter 7. The bankruptcy courts have a no-look fee of $5,000 for Chapter 13s, meaning if you charge $5,000 or less, the court will ask you no questions about your fees. In Chapter 11, if we go back to the top, that there's a bankruptcy is a class action lawsuit against your creditors. The plan of reorganization, the document at the end, is really the contract that binds those creditors. When you are in a Chapter 11 bankruptcy, either as an individual or a company trying to reorganize, because you're your own trustee, you get to propose your own type of plan. As a result, the code puts this democratic process in where creditors get to participate and vote. And that democratic process requires a great deal of work, a great deal of solicitation of those creditors, giving them an opportunity to participate, object, and decide whether they want to participate or not, and that makes it expensive.
Thank you so much for joining us. We ran out of time again today. If you want more information about Schwartz Law Firm, you can contact them directly at the number on your screen or log on to schwartzlawyers.com. See you next time on Las Vegas FYI. Have a great day.